Hi guys, this is Jeffrey from Grinderschool.com. I'm doing a short video today. I'm playing at full tilt, playing at the 25 cent, 50 cent, no limit tables. What I want to talk about today is a concept in poker called the gap theory. This is a concept that originated, as far as I know, from David Sklansky, some of the writings that he's done. Basically, what it states is that you need a stronger hand to call a bet with than you do to raise a bet. Um, I'll hopefully be able to get some examples of that in here. But to kind of expand upon that, you can, if you're the one making a bet, if you're the one raising, you can win the hand in two ways. You can win it by having the best hand when everything's said and done, or you can win it by getting your opponent to fold a hand that would have actually beat you. Further, when your opponent is raised in front of you, they've kind of identified that they have a certain strength of hand most of the time. So that can tell you, okay, well, this is the type of hand they have, and it lets you make a decision to act accordingly. And usually, if someone raises, you don't want to play a weak hand because they have you beat. There are a couple of cases where there's an exception to this. Essentially, any situation where you're really deep stacked, you have a lot of chips compared to the size of the blinds, and you're getting good odds. So, if I was on the button, and being in position helps as well. But if I was on the button here and I had like a Jack 10 suited and someone raised to $1 and we both had $50, I would call. Even though it's not a strong enough hand to actually make that raise, I would call just because I have a lot of potential to be able to play. Here's an example post flop. He checks to me. I don't have a strong enough hand to call a bet, but I do have a strong enough hand to bet here. I'll bet 75 cents. Maybe he'll fold. If he folds, he could have had a better hand than I have. He could have had a worse hand. It doesn't matter. I can win by getting him to fold. Or if it came Jack Jack, I ended up with a full house of jacks. I could win by having the best hand. But and there it worked. I got him to fold, even though I may not have had the best hand. I couldn't have called a bet by any means. So I was saying exceptions can be if you're deep stacked and you're getting really good odds with certain types of hands. So if you have a suited connector, like the Jack 10 suited on the button would be an example, or if you've got a pocket pair from really any position, those are both hands where you can win a lot of money from someone that actually has a big hand. If you're playing pocket threes against someone with pocket aces and you hit your three on the flop, you can get a lot of money off of them. So if you're deep stacked enough to have the odds to do that, then it's a good way to go. It's most applicable pre-flop. We saw an example of where it applied post-flop too. But so, for instance, here I can't call. Here I could raise, but with as many people as there are, it's not a good idea. So I'm just going to fold. Now, if everyone had folded to me with that queen four, it's a horrible hand. There's no reason to really ever play it. But I could still have raised with it to try to win the hand just by getting my opponents to fold. You see we're at a cash game table here, and it's certainly applicable here, but it's really even more crucial in tournaments because pot odds, which create some of the exceptions we were talking about, aren't really a factor in tournaments. They're a factor, but they're not as important because things like stack preservation, keeping the right number of chips in your stack, is also a factor. So the two kind of counterbalance each other. Whereas in a cash game, we can always add more money on the table if we lose some chips. So again, the idea is that you need a stronger hand to call a bet, or to just even just to limp in if other people are at the table. You need a stronger hand to do that than you do to raise. You don't have to have a great hand to raise because you can win by getting your opponents to fold. But you should have a good hand, a solid hand that you think has some winning potential if you're going to call a bet. Now here with the ace-queen, I have a pretty solid hand, so we'll see what the action is to me. It's strong enough that I could actually call, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the thing to do. I'm certainly not going to limp, so I'll raise here. And looks like people are just going to fold. That would have been a good example. If I had had Queen 8 last hand, I could have done the same thing. We'll see if I get to do anything here. Okay, we'll go ahead and raise here, not because of our hand strength, but because we get to raise. We had a weak hand, they folded, we made money. That's exactly what we're talking about with this gap theory. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here, but I hope that you've learned a little bit about where that can come into play, the raising instead of calling with weak hands. You don't want to call with a weak hand, but you can raise with one. Again, this is Jeffrey from Grinderschool.com. If you like this video, go ahead and check out the Grinderschool.com website, because we are going to be offering a lot of videos kind of similar. A lot of them will be longer in length and go into multiple concepts. There are some free videos. There are also some subscriptions. Anyway, hope you enjoy this. Thanks.